What a blessing we have enjoyed today. First of all, that wonderful song. Oh, the day is already perfect as far as I can tell. 54 new members. Have you appreciated what Heather Palmer did behind the deacon's bench? Is that not beautiful today? I know some of you are over here. I hope you can go around and look later. It's very pretty. And Carl, Marilyn, choir. What can you say? And for those who don't know, one of our new members, David Lockington, was up late last night having made the Mozart Mass in C minor really as special as it could possibly be, and I know because I heard it, along with some of you who sang it. What a great day. And what a time it has been for the last few weeks, for me especially. I hope you've been having at least a little bit of fun along with me. But there have, no, that wasn't an invitation. That was not an invitation, although there will be moments, I'm sure. And when it is worth it, as we heard earlier, I would never discourage appreciation ever, because we are here to appreciate. As Annie Dillard said, we are here to abet creation, so that nature need not play to an empty house. If we don't notice what is beautiful, then we're not doing our job. But what I'm thinking about this morning as I turn a little bit of a corner from that splendid song is all the stuff that's been happening well beyond this community. We've been through all the storm and drang of Terry Schiavo, of the Pope getting sick and dying and now waiting for the next one to be plucked from a hat. We're looking for what's happening in Lebanon, which is encouraging and yet disturbing. And then there's the never-ending drama of power run amok in Washington. I'm thinking particularly of the majority leader in the House of Representatives. You know, if I were a columnist, this would be fish in a barrel. I'm a preacher, and it's still fish in a barrel. And yet in all these weeks, I haven't said a word about any of these things. Well, part of that is restraint. The targets are just too obvious. But there's a larger reason, because I know the difference between the urgent and the important. Some of you who are familiar with the self-help star Stephen Covey are nodding your heads. He helps you with those 7 habits of highly effective people. I can tell you I'm still working on the first one. But one of those, the one I'm working on, is the difference between urgent and important. The news is urgent. It's right there, right now, all the time. It's crawling at the bottom of your Fox channel and the headline news and the Bloomberg station. It's there in the newspaper, big headlines about all the things that are urgent, and they all look important because they're saying now, now, now. Cynical as it seems, though, I know these things, the things on the news, as important as they sound, are really just urgent. That, like it or not, there are families right now with people just like Terry Schiavo, and they're not playing out their drama in public, and we don't notice them at all. We know that even though this particular Pope had a long and popular reign, he's one of 267. I'm sure they'll find another one pretty soon. And the dramas of Lebanon and Washington, as intrinsically interesting as they are, neither the first nor the last of their kind. And behold, I saw there was nothing new under the sun, says the cynic Ecclesiastes. Nothing new. Power always corrupts. Life always begins and ends. Another crisis will come along in a moment. You and I both know it. Remember the tsunami? How many of us have already forgotten about it? And the usual suspects will close in on the next story. Whenever I say the usual suspects, I think of Claude Rains, don't you? Only those who ever watch Casablanca know what I mean. Yes, the usual suspects will be there, the pundits, the press, and all the people with the banners to wave, because most people do not know the difference between the sensational and the important, the historical and the merely hysterical. Sing along to the age of paranoia, says Green Day in its most recent album, American Idiot. One nation controlled by the media, information age of hysteria, calling out to idiot America. We know the truth of that, and now I'm going to tell you the next truth, which is not nearly as much fun. That includes you and me. Yes, even educated, sophisticated people with letters after our names can get swept up into the media frenzy. The immediate can rouse us to righteousness, to defend a rampart that seems to be certainly under assault. We can be as much like a zealot as anyone. Of course, there's one difference between us and them. We're right. But how do we know we're right? The other guys know they're right. They get out a book. It's usually called the Bible, and they point at it and says, we know we're right because, and they point to the book. But what about us? What do we point to? I think sometimes we're prone to what I would call bad Jeffersonian thinking, that our values are self-evident. They're as clear as gravity and as obvious as daylight. Well, of course. And so anyone who doesn't agree with us, if they're not adult, they're just willfully wrong. Like the old woman of the story I heard from another century who attended the lecture by an astronomer and came up to him afterward and said that no matter what he said, she knew that the earth was a giant disk on the back of a turtle. And the astronomer, thinking to catch her in her logical trap, said, "And what, my dear, does the turtle stand on?" And she banged her umbrella against his head and say, "I know what you're trying to do, young man, and let me say right now that it's turtles all the way down." We're kind of prone to that thinking if we are not careful. How do we know we are right? And that's been my question as a man of faith, a man of liberal faith, for 25 years. And sure, I have strong feelings about the travesty around Terry Schiavo and the power of the Roman Catholic Church and the struggle in the Middle East and the corruptions of power. I also have strong feelings about reproductive freedom and the fate of Social Security and the right to gay marriage. These are all issues that everyone is talking about today. But religion, even liberal religion, is not about issues. It's about values. In that case, our friends to the right are correct. And that's why they have prospered, because we have heard their values as well as their issues, and we have not been as clear about liberal values as they have been about conservative ones. And so my mission, my radical mission, which means to go to the root, the fundamental, yes, I said fundamental values that are the foundation of liberal religion. And if you've been here for a few weeks, and some of you have, and I am very grateful to you, I began with 3 ideas for the benefit of those who weren't here or whose memories are as short as mine. The 3 points I raised in March were that people of liberal faith are moved by a vision of cosmic unity, one we experience, that this unity that we experience is of something that is ultimately alive and encompassing, and that the soul of this organism, God, binds it together as our own minds hold our own persons together. Now these notions, I should say, are not unique to me. You can find them in every great book, including the one they point to all the time, and in great philosophers. And I will explore these issues in depth over the next few years. I promise it will be a wild and woolly ride. You don't want to miss a moment. That was an encouragement to be back, you know. This month, though, I thought it would be wise to tell you, as I started on Easter Sunday, with how to live a life in light of these principles. And I won't complete them in a period of 3 weeks. This, too, will take a number of years to learn. And each of these points that I am about to share, one was last week, one this week, and one 2